Alright, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I was too lazy to read the TWAB, so I'm gonna have our boy Datto read it to me. Also, follow me on all my socials. It's free and easy. Something your lazy ass probably loves to hear.
Hello everyone, welcome back to A Sad, Strange Little Man, where today Bungie is going over how power is going to be working in Final Shape. We got a little taste of this back in 2023 when Bungie was talking about fire team power and stuff like that. Today they have elaborated significantly more on what the power situation is going to be looking like in the Final Shape.
Wait. I was just reading it while he was talking, but this week in Destiny, we have some updates to share about power level. It's not over 9,000 yet. That I love Destiny. I love Bungie.
So, and there's some
when they do good stuff.
Pretty big things in there.
That's stupid shit.
Some not as big as the others, but there's some pretty interesting notes in here that a lot of people are gonna get mad at me about. So let's go.
It happens.
That. A lot of trailers for Final Shape. Enemy showcases.
I haven't watched those yet. I need to watch them.
Wallpapers for your computer and your phone.
Okay.
Okay. How power works in the Final Shape. So, this is Bungie going over everything about what's going to be happening. We're starting with Fire Team Power. We kind of already knew what was going to be happening with Fire Team Power, where essentially you have the highest power level player in your team, bringing everyone else up to within 5 levels. 5 power below the power leader. So let's see what they're talking about here.
Real quick, that is gonna be monumental. That is gonna be crazy for the game, especially for the new light players and just the returning players that want to come back and don't want to do all the grindy shit and just want to hop straight into the fucking action. Because if you guys don't know, they're also doing something with the new light quest when you first get the game, the intro to the game. You can actually skip it now. Well, I don't know if it's now, but they're definitely gonna implement it in. You can skip it and you can just hop straight into the action. So not only can you skip it, you can join up your friends and then be at their level. That's fucking crazy. So you can be raid ready the same day you download the game. That shit's insane to me. But let's keep going.
In Final Shape, playing with friends will be easier than ever, no matter if you play every day, haven't played in years. Bungie is kind of going really all in on being able to play with not even just your friends, but also multiple characters, as we're going to talk about in a moment.
That's amazing.
They're really going on, like, making sure that if you've ever played Destiny ever, and you want to come back for Final Shape, that you are going to be able to play it with as few barriers as possible.
That's so amazing. That's so amazing. That's going to bring so many new people in
the fire team will become the power leader. All other players in the team will be brought up to 5 power below the power leader if their power isn't higher already. It only affects activity difficulty, and your unadjusted power level will still determine the power of your rewards. So you're not going to get super scaled up rewards just because your fire team leader is 50 levels above you or whatever.
Okay.
Power leader will also give you a boost to any commendations. Okay, fine.
I'm about to say no one gives a fuck about that.
Activity power cap, which you can't. I'll put the picture on the screen, but essentially it's going to show your adjusted power down here. So we have someone.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Everyone else is very low level. They are being brought up to 1990.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Power limits from legacy gear. Before I start this section, I just want everybody to know that vault cleaning season is officially canceled forever. I don't want to hear it. I'm throwing it out. I'm done. I'm good. I'm done. One problem we encountered when designing Fire Team Power was power limits on older gear items. You may have noticed as you read that this would sidestep the power cap on old power limited items, making it possible to just completely ignore them. After thoroughly considering the problem space, we have come to the decision to remove power limits from all items starting in the Final Shape. They sunsetting officially. Those items will no longer be capped at the power floor, which in the Final Shape is going to be 1900, it appears. That we have officially retired that saga several years later. Bungie has completely eradicated, I think, pretty much all signs of sunsetted items. Let me finish.
Okay, yeah, let me just say something. That was crazy because when I was reading this earlier, I didn't read the entire thing, but I read parts of it, so I know little bits of what's in this TWAB. I'm not calling it TWID, fuck you. But basically, yeah, all the sunsetting weapons that Datto helped clean out of people's vaults were actually gonna end up being usable, which is I know people are gonna be up in arms about that. And I was asking myself like, why? What was the point of Into the Light then if all the weapons were gonna be brought back? But I had to realize they get new perks that probably work better than their old, curated perks that they had. So it's really cool because I get to use like 21% delirium, my mind benders again. Oh my, I'm finna go fucking stupid with my mind benders, but that's awesome. That's honestly awesome. That's really awesome. I
Finish
can
this
say.
paragraph and we'll talk a little bit more. Always being able to play with your friends was a huge goal for us as we close out Light and Darkness Saga. We want to rally all Guardians. It became apparent that power limits were fundamentally incompatible with Fire Team power. I'm sure there's also a lot of very, very old players who literally just have a vault full of completely sunset items that just would have to go grind out completely new items to get to a spot where they could play Final Shape. And Bungie perhaps thought of that and were like, let's just give them their stuff back. We understand that many old power-limited items have been dismantled by this point, and we regret that we have no recovery mechanism for these. Not that I was expecting one.
Do you know how many people are gonna be fucking pissed about that? Especially after he helped clean out some people's vaults. I know people are pissed as fuck.
To reintroduce sources for most or all of these updated to modern Destiny sandbox standards with added properties such as origin traits, build crafting perks, as we have started to do with the Brave Arsenal. Here's what I'm going to say about this. Is that I still very firmly believe that 99% of those items can be safely disregarded. We have power crept for the most part so far ahead of a lot of these older items that you may have been keeping
very true
or anything like that, or just some sort of cope, maybe I'll use this in PvP again type thing. Am I going to be busting out my old Go Figure with Outlaw kill clip on it that has 55,000 kills for some content going into Final Shape? Probably not. Most of the items that I did keep were old legacy items that were good in those eras, but have been insanely power creeped by now. Obviously, I had no way of really seeing this, so if you are part of the crowd that has gone through and deleted items out of your vault because they were sunset, you know that they got power crept, you know you're not going to use them, you know, or you thought that Bungie was not going to unsunset these items. Feel free to direct your anger at me. Just use me as the effing homing beacon. Use me as the beacon of hatred. Datto made me delete this. Datto said vault space this, that. I had to delete things and Datto told whatever. Whatever you got to do to make yourself feel better, just hit me. Use this comment section as a
y'all leave this man alone. He has not done shit, bro. Y'all leave this motherfucker alone.
Beacon of hatred towards me. Talk about the roles that you deleted because I said vault cleaning good and Bungie's not going to unsunset anything. Do what you must, okay? But I give up on the vault. I give up on vault cleanings. I give up. Next up, we have power bands, aka the floor and the ceiling. It used to be a very, very wide gap whenever we had an expansion launch, like 150 levels. The power floor is 1900 with the soft cap being 1940, so there's not as many levels to get to the soft cap anymore. But as Bungie has done for the previous two campaigns, if you play through the Final Shape campaign on Legend...
I didn't even see that. We get to 2,000 as the pinnacle? Oh, yes, sir.
You're going to get a very, very high level set of armor at the end that you can infuse into your gear. 20 levels into the powerful band, 1960. And the contest mode raid, if you are going to be doing contest mode raiding, is 1965. So, again... If you're even someone who is considering doing contest mode raiding, I assume you're probably good enough to do the campaign on legendary difficulty. But besides the legendary difficulty, I think being a better difficulty balance, there's a little bit of resistance. I think it's a more fun experience. You should absolutely try to do the legend campaign for that boosted gear. It's just going to save you some time going into the future.
Yeah.
Next up, we have activity
get a lot faster,
which is already kind of something that we have in the game right now, where Bungie will say, like, this level is the level of the activity. You can't go higher. You're maxed out here. So for this, we're going to have two different settings, essentially. We're going to have power disabled and power enabled. Power disabled activities are stuff like seasonal story missions, free roam destinations, Crucible, some legacy content, campaigns, both normal and legendary difficulties, stuff where Bungie is like, this is how hard we want this content to be at all times, no matter what your level is. That's essentially what it is. Anyone at any level can jump in and experience them to the fullest. As such, increasing your power won't change the difficulty that you experience, and you cannot over-level the enemies in these activities. So, like legendary difficulty, for example, you were always a set level below the enemies as long as you hit like some sort of arbitrary cap. Like if you were below that cap, then it would actually be harder. But most people, I don't think, really experienced this issue. So for legendary, you were always X amount of levels below the enemies, no matter what. They are just essentially giving this more of an actual label in game that you can see much more clearly, as opposed to it being
okay, I got you.
17 little circle icons off to the left side of the screen. You're now just going to have this thing right here, activity power disabled. It's going to be much more in your face, much easier to understand where this power situation lies with whatever thing you're going into. Power enabled activities are...
So what I took from that is basically, I guess, let's say like you want to do like Pit of Heresy on the moon. It's at the bare minimum. It's at the floor cap, I think you call it. I don't know. But basically, it's at the minimal level. You only have to be 1600, which you are when you start the game. So I guess even if someone like me who's max leveled in can like steps in there, then I'll be brought down to 1600. I'm not sure if I'm misinterpreting that. Someone let me know. I'm not sure.
Are going to include Vanguard playlists, Nightfall, seasonal activities, exotic mission rotators, trials, raids, dungeons, all that kind of stuff. This is where power level is going to be obviously more important because power cap is on. A big
higher level stuff.
The activity power cap, which is where you will be at your most powerful, and Bungie is making it very, very clear on the actual activity screen if you have hit this power cap. So as like, for example, Vanguard Ops.
That's nice.
1945, it's going to give you this little check mark that you are as powerful as you can possibly be going into this particular activity. They're making it very, very clear. Enemies will still have a set feel for how tough they are, even at the cap, but you will notice yourself getting stronger as your power level grows, which seems a little contradictory, but I kind of get what they're saying. And Bungie also says a little bit later, I mean, we can just scroll to it right now. It's worth calling out that gameplay tuning in our existing high difficulty content remains unchanged with these updates. We're continuing to experiment with new activities that evolve in difficulty throughout the run. So I'm not really expecting a huge difficulty shift with any of these new like power cap enabled, disabled. It just seems like it's getting slightly different labeling. It's getting streamlined a little bit more, but I would not expect the difficulty of the game or any of the activities within to really get a huge shift. Like the Vanguard Ops playlist is still probably going to feel like the Vanguard Ops playlist. Nightfalls are still going to feel like Nightfalls. I think it's just easier to understand UI and labeling just to know what you're getting into, to make things more clear. Because a lot of these things to veteran players, people who play the game right now, we kind of already know these things. But if Bungie is anticipating a lot of returning players for the final shape, maybe hoping that they stick around as well, they want to make things as clear as possible for these players. They don't need to go learn some unwritten rules or like go watch a 97 things you didn't know about Destiny video to understand
they would leave
what
instantly.
is actually happening with power here, which I think is
they would drop the game
move,
so fucking
right? It
quick.
just makes the game easier to understand. And there's a lot of things that have been difficult to understand, especially if you're a new player or a returning player.
Yeah.
You know, the last time you played was first aid.
Yeah, I gotta say, being a new player in Destiny is probably one of the craziest things to experience. The game has so much shit it just throws at you all at once. And good lord, it's no wonder people quit the game so early. It's because like it's overwhelming as shit, and with stuff like this, it's gonna make it so much better. It's gonna make it so much better for people to understand and actually enjoy the game. Yeah, that's awesome.
Or something like that. We do have a couple of very small changes here. The hero difficulty is getting changed to just be called advanced. Expert used to be legend. I kind of, I'm gonna miss hero and legend a little bit. It kind of gave it a little more of that Destiny flair, but we're going to standard, advanced, expert, master, grandmaster. Very globally, easily understood terms, no matter what you're like, because hero versus legend, both could be interpreted as like, here is hero easier, is which one's easier or harder? And I know you have the numbers literally right here, but okay, streamlining the naming conventions, I get it. That's fine. Otherwise, this is not like, none of this is really changing. We have all the activity power caps in terms of how high of a level you need to be, but all of these are pretty in line with what we experience today. We still got Grandmasters. You still got to be the highest level for Grandmasters. They also throw in a little contest mode here, but this is just for the day one raid, so don't, look too
not gonna be active
into contest mode
ever besides that.
So yeah, it's just some naming conventions getting changed and just some clarity of language coming in. And again, gameplay is not going to be changing for higher difficulty activities. Next up, we have artifact bonus power. Bungie seems like they're going to be spacing out XP a little bit more. They do say with the additional time offered by each episode, since we're only having 3 episodes as opposed to 4 seasons, so each episode is technically longer, we've increased the number of weeks with seasonal challenges, and they will also be receiving a buff to their XP rewards. Given this, we needed to make some adjustments to XP requirements for the artifact bonus power levels. Our goals for the rebalance were that actively engaged players could attain similar artifact levels achieved by the end of an episode. That artifact power remains a rewarding pursuit throughout, which makes it seem like they're adjusting XP so that you're gaining approximately the same amount of artifact levels at the end of an episode that you are getting at the end of a current season. So maybe things are a little bit slower. I'm not too sure, but they're trying to balance it out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's just a wait and see.
I'm not anticipating like a huge shift in XP here. I'm sure it's going to be kind of slight, kind of small, but hopefully this is not too much of a problem. Next up, we have probably one of the biggest changes, probably something people have been asking for a very long time, which is
yeah, this was one of the things I read. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm going to just let him explain it, but just know this is going to be so biggest quality of life change. Biggest quality of life change.
Most of us play primarily one character, but what if it didn't have to be so hard to walk in a different class's boots? We're lowering the barrier to entry to play multiple classes by introducing account-wide power. Starting in Final Shape, the gear rewards you earn on any character will drop with a power level relative to the highest power character on your account. Level up the power of your hunter. Then when you switch to Titan and Warlock, the gear rewards you earn will be around your hunter's level. The exact power of rewards will still depend on the source, but the power you earn on one character will positively influence the rewards you find on your other characters. Technically speaking, we do already have this, but it only applied to weapons because you can transfer weapons between characters, so that's sort of globally applied to all of your characters.
Yeah, a lot of people, what they would do, like you had to get like relatively high level armor for your other low level characters, and then you would just transfer over your maxed out weapons from your your main character to the side characters. But with this, you can be maining hunter, pussy, but let's say you main hunter, you're 1810, you're 1830, whatever the fuck you are, and your other character's like 1600. You can play, and any drops that you play on the other characters, the 2 side characters you don't really play, they're gonna drop at like around 1810. I don't know if they said it's exact. I think it's around the same level. But do you know how quickly that levels you up and how quickly you get to hop into the main shit in the game? This is gonna be so good for just, like I said, newer / returning players, so they can hop right into it. They don't have to worry about all the boring grindy shit. They can just play immediately with their friends. Exotics and weapons, like like the meta weapons, like you actually have to go do specific shit for. That's a whole different story. But as far as being high enough to where you're not getting one shot or damn near, every second in the fight, this is amazing. This is gonna be so amazing for just, like I said, new and returning players. It's awesome. I'm here for it.
Armor. So what you would do is you would level a character, you would get the weapons as high as possible, and then you would transfer the weapons. You didn't technically need to transfer them, but you would transfer the weapons to that next character that you were leveling, and you would start to get a little bit of a boost. Now, we're essentially taking that concept. You don't need to transfer your stuff, and it also applies to armor. So
yeah,
leveling your characters
that's
is
amazing.
Going to happen much faster. You're not going to need to maintain all 3 of your characters nearly as much as you might need to do that right now. So that means you're actually going to be able to play multiple characters. So
yeah,
if you are just someone
that is insane. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Because you only have time to deal with that one character or play with that one character to grind, level up, whatever. Bungie's trying to make it so it's not that painful to fully level a character, hop over to a different one.
I'm here for it.
A day's worth of activities.
I'm here for
and
it.
You're basically almost the same level as your main character. Absolutely fantastic change
Yep.
here. I don't think
Amazing.
anyone's really going to be upset about this at all. I've seen this a lot.
If you are, you're weird.
Reddit recently, posts of like, how do people keep up with all their characters? How do they do this? How do they keep grinding all these characters? I want to play other characters, and I just don't have the time to. Now, hopefully, you will.
Yeah.
Awesome change.
Yeah.
Awesome change.
Amazing.
I would love to see more account-wide things happening.
I think everybody would, yeah.
Seasonal storyline anymore, but like seasonal story stuff, that should have been account-wide for like the past 3 years or something like that. I'm loving more account-wide stuff for people. Finally, one slightly more minor note with reward power. For some time now, select activities such as ritual playlists have had a chance of dropping a powerful reward with +1 power for players between the soft cap and the power cap. In Final Shape, we're extending this beyond those select activities to just about every reward source in Destiny 2. So
okay,
this is
wow.
Essentially, you know, when you run out of powerful reward sources for the week, Bungie still wanted you to play, so like every once in a while you get a power drop from whatever activity. Now it's just that can happen pretty much anywhere in the game at any given moment. So that's good. That's a nice little.
Yeah, you level up a lot faster now, for sure.
They are improving their power of rewards you purchase from vendors and collections. All items purchased from vendors will now drop no lower than 3 below your highest power, and items reacquired from collections will be 5 below instead of all the way down at the power floor. I actually
That's amazing.
really
That's
like
awesome.
this because, you know, there's been some times where I've pulled stuff out of my vault that I just haven't leveled up in a really long time, and I really want to bring it up to pinnacle cap, but I would have to go to a vendor, and they would only bring me to the powerful cap. So bringing that even closer to your actual level is just a nice quality of life improvement for anyone who might, you know, pull something out of the vault that you haven't used in a very long time. And
yeah, especially if like when you pulled something out, like if you needed a specific exotic, like let's say you had to pull out a tractor because you don't have a tractor on you 24/7, tractor bitch. But let's say you pull it out, right, and it's 1600. Obviously, you have to level it up, and all your heavy weapons are like shit that you actually use, and you don't want to infuse it. So now you have to actually leave and go get something that's like 1800 or higher. Just level it up. Like that's yeah. So it being 5 below as soon as you pull it out is awesome. That way you don't have to do all that bullshit just to, you know, be optimal.
being able to very quickly level it up. Same for collections too. People pulling exotics out of collections, they're not going to be at the floor. You don't have to go to like Shaxx or Zavala to scoop up some random vendor trash and then
Exactly.
use it, and then
Yep.
you're still not at the
Exactly.
pinnacle cap or like whatever your cap is. So nice quality of life change here.
Yeah, amazing.
And then
Amazing.
we have Pantheon coming. Oh God, in 5 days as of this video. Very excited for that. We have a little creep.
That shit's gonna be fire. As someone who is a big raider, that shit's gonna be fire.
Creator challenge. I'm not in this, so who cares? No. You got two teams fighting against each other for some Pantheon weekly challenge stuff. Then PvP, something I'm actually hold. I don't leave yet. Don't leave PvE players.
Yeah, I saw this shit earlier.
No
This shit's
ability
crazy.
Crucible mode. Weapons only. Next week, Crucible Labs will feature hardware supremacy. Hardware disables all abilities, including movement abilities like dodge, Icarus dash. You can still use your regular jumps. Puts the focus on gunplay. Collect heavy and special from crates. Don't forget the crest. Paying close attention.
We can actually play the game now without having to feel like we're fighting fucking wizards. You guys ever turn a corner and get hit by a fucking scatter nade that came out of nowhere and you're instantly one shot? And then some fucking crouch spamming titan comes at you like that, and you're just instantly fucking dead? Yeah, now you don't have to worry about that, guys. Now we can actually play the game. That's crazy. I'm here for it. Yes, sir.
I would like to do a video on this. This is a mode that people have been asking for years.
Yep.
Literal years. I would love to see what an all-gun Crucible mode looks like. Take the abilities out. Let's just do some gun stuff. It's finally here. If you've been one of those people
After 10 years, but yeah.
in the past, it's like I only had,
I'm so toxic. Let me stop.
Kind of game mode that was only guns. Here it is. Bungie wants your data. They want your feedback. Hop into this list. At least give it a chance. If you.
Oh, I definitely am, for sure.
Because I know I will be. So
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
that out.
That's awesome.
We finally
Amazing.
have what you've been asking for. What we've been asking for.
Exactly.
Give him some respect. Play the thing. All right. Archie plushie. Go scoop one. I think that's about it.
I need that in my life. If one of y'all can buy it for me, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Closing thoughts. I mean, a lot of this power stuff is really cool, generally speaking. Bungie trying to reduce friction as much as possible for people playing with their friends. They've been really pushing that sentiment. God, probably since like Beyond Light, like just reducing the amount of friction between playing with your friends as much as humanly possible. They're continuing to do more with Fireteam Power, boosting your friends up to your power level almost. Also account-wide power, just making it easier and easier for people to actually game with each other. Power's just been one of those things in the game that's been like, we know that it like some adjustments could have been made to leveling, but it's never really felt urgent enough for Bungie to really do anything about it when it has felt like there's been so many other fires that they've needed to put out throughout the game. It's just sort of like it's a grind game. Like that's what you do. You get levels, bro. That's what you do. You get levels so you can go do the higher level thing so you can get more levels. What are we talking about? But it's nice to see that Bungie is making some big adjustments to this system, and we'll see if they're going to come up with anything else, because I think some people were also anticipating like, oh, are we even going to have power levels anymore going into the future? I'm sure they're still iterating on that kind of stuff, but this is sort of like a streamlining of what we have right now, and I think a lot of people are going to appreciate some of those things. One of those things they're not going to appreciate, again, is the removing power limits from legacy gear. If you deleted something old that was sunset, I'm sorry. Maybe you were encouraged by the vault cleaning stuff, but it's gonna come back. I don't even want to.
Do you see his face, bro? Y'all leave this man alone. He's been through too much shit, bro. Y'all leave this man Datto alone. He's been through way too much shit in this fucking community, bro.
I don't even want to dwell on this. I'm gonna have my mentions are just destroyed already. So I'm just gonna go.
Okay, so you done.
I'm just gonna leave, and I'm gonna not look at Twitter for like a week. So that's it. Good stuff. Power.
All right. Yeah. So overall, that is awesome. That is amazing. There's nothing better about Destiny than being able to actually hop into the shit that you want to, and not do the shit you don't want to get to it. You know what I mean? I've heard so many people over and over say, I would play the game more, but Jesus Christ, that grind is unbearable. Just to get to the shit that you actually want to play, the raids, nightfalls, GM nightfalls, dungeons, all that shit. This is so helpful, and this is honestly such a ginormous quality of life change for the game. It's going to be so healthy for the game, in my opinion. It's going to be amazing, especially because, like I said, new and returning players, this is a great incentive for them to actually play the game. This is a great incentive. Whether or not they're buying Final Shape or not, we're not talking about that, but just playing the game in general and trying it out. And then maybe, getting DLCs and shit. Putting more money in their pockets so they can reimburse it, hopefully back into the game. Because, I feel like it took us, the game almost dying, for us to get all these changes that should have been in the game years ago. But I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm happy we're getting it in general. And honestly, it's amazing. This was probably one of the better TWABs I've seen in a while. Let me know what you guys think about it. I give this shit, honestly, a 10 out of 10. This is amazing. This is going to help so many people just actually enjoy the game and have fun with their friends like the game is supposed to be. So thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you reading the TWAB to me, Datto. I'm not calling it Twid. Fuck you. And see you guys next time. Peace out, bitch.